Hi. Okay.
Hello, hello.
All right. And now I am, God damn it. And mute. No, we're not. Now we're good. Hey, Josh, how's it going? Woo! Yeah!
On fire tonight.
Woo! That's it.
Welcome. Tressa, it's good to see you. How the hell are you doing?
I'm doing well, Josh. How are you? I wish I had had time to shower today, but I did not, and I'm kind of smelly. How are you?
I would have no way of knowing that, nor would
That's why
any
I
of our
told you.
listeners.
That's why I said it.
It's an interesting disclosure. Thanks for letting us in. That's like a level of intimacy that like not everybody gets.
Right.
Not all of the shows are like giving you like the juicy little nuggets like that.
I mean, it's because I love all of you.
That's really nice. Like all two of them.
Uh-huh. You and me.
We comprise the totality of the audience of this show.
We have the best audience on Twitter.
Pew pew pew. Air horn sound.
Bow, 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 like that.
Bow, bow, bow.
Mm-hmm. So we watched episode 3 just now.
Yeah, we're talking about Outer Range season 1, episode 3. I fucking love this show.
So good.
Wait, before we get into the episode, there's something I haven't done on like any of our other episodes, and I just want to shout out my friend Amy, who turned me on to this show. Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, Amy.
I'm obsessed with this show, and I wouldn't know about it if you hadn't clued me in.
What a pal.
Yeah, totally. So dude, what do you think?
It's super fun and beautiful, and I like it a lot.
It's so fucking smart. Like, there's so much that just seems like regular dialogue that's about what's happening in the scene, but then like it's about more stuff. You've got like the sheriff walks in to that convenience store about to stop a robbery, and she's like, do you hear this guy on the radio? He acts like he can see the future.
What an asshole.
Yeah. Which is what this whole show is about.
It's nothing's ever shoved down your throat on the show. I really enjoy that. It's all just like, hey guys, I'm dropping some knowledge right now. Are you paying attention?
Right, but it's like it's fucking constantly happening. So like, I guess if you're tuned in, you could feel like it was being shoved down your throat. But I think it's elegant. I think it's smart.
I agree.
I think it's really well done. I love the scene where Autumn hitchhikes into town to go to the pharmacy.
Right.
And she's listening to her headphones.
Yes.
And like the pharmacist is speaking, but we don't hear what she has to say at all, because all we hear is like, I got loyalty inside my DNA. And she takes out her headphones. She's like, what? Oh, I'm sorry. What?
That was gorgeous. I loved it. And I wasn't paying attention to the lyrics. And now that you say them, that's pretty fun because I can see where that's going. But also she's on lamotrigine. That's like an anti-convulsive, maybe?
She said she's got to stay even or stay stable or something like that.
Yeah, it's supposed to prevent seizures.
Seizures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, they could be like auras where you're not necessarily, your body isn't seizing, but you're going through like a mental thing. Yeah,
Oh, so it's not just for like an epileptic, but for something else too? Is
it's
it for
also,
epileptics?
I'm not sure, I can't say for sure, but I know that there is a seizure where your body does not seize, but something happens in your brain. It's called an aura.
In ancient times,
Mm.
epileptics were believed to be to have like a mystical link to the gods.
Oh, that's a fun little detail for this show.
Maybe, or maybe that's just like, you know,
Still.
just a fun little detail about real life.
Mm. Real life is so fun.
Hey, you just took your first international trip.
I did. It was
Um,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah, it was really. I went to Toronto, and it was weird to be in a city that is solely like based around walking. At least where I was, anyway. Because even in Chicago, it's still a pain in the ass. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm so northeastern
Mm-hmm.
that like I'm fully adapted and acclimated to walking long distances the way people in most parts of the United States aren't.
Oh, for sure.
Um, I grew up in Boston and I live in New York, and like I remember as a kid, like I had a friend visit from New Jersey, and he lived just like in suburban New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just trying to show him around Boston, and what to me seemed like a normal amount of just casual walking from here to there.
Mm-hmm.
He was like dying as though, you know, it was like his last stand. And that was my first introduction to the idea that like in most places people drive everywhere, and wherever you're going, like you take the car,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, a walking commute does not exist, like unless maybe you live a short, like a couple of blocks from that one place that you're going.
Yeah. No, it's gross. And even like downtown's not bad in Chicago, because I think the key for me anyway is I need a lot of shit to look at while I'm walking. But if it's just like three houses on a block, I'm going to be bored, and it's going to seem like the longest walk in the world. But when you have a location where there's a store every 10 feet or a park or whatever, I'm all about it. It's easy.
Right, right. I get that. So are you saying like Toronto just doesn't have that much interesting stuff to look at?
No, I'm saying they did. It
Oh,
was
okay.
gorgeous and beautiful, and I loved
Oh.
it.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, so does Chicago. Chicago's like, I mean, perhaps to a scale, like things are spread out in a Midwestern
Yeah,
way.
for sure. And we have our spots, but overall, I think it's lacking.
I'm so sorry. Could you repeat that? My stupid fucking headphones keep triggering. Uh,
Oh,
I hate.
Siri,
Yeah,
get yourself some new headphones, kid.
I know. Well, I mean, I think it's the headphones.
Right.
I think it either it either triggers that app or the
Mm-hmm.
music app like launches on its own.
That's fun.
And it could just be a matter of like I turned my head the wrong way. Um,
That doesn't seem right.
I know, right? Like I gotta fix it. But like I don't want to do, I feel like if I have Bluetooth headphones, it's gonna fuck up our connection.
I don't trust Bluetooth
Yeah.
on this. I didn't have any poutine the whole time I was there, which bums me out because obviously I wanted
No
gravy.
poutine.
I know. Like,
What the
why?
fuck?
I don't know. It
What?
just seemed like a lot. I don't know.
Wait, is that like is that something that all of Canada is famous for? Is that like a Toronto thing? Is that a Montreal thing?
I just assumed it was a Canada thing, but I have absolutely no idea.
Did you eat a goose?
No. No,
You
I
you
did.
had no Canada goose?
No, I did not.
Canada Dry?
Mm-mm.
Did you have
You know what I had? Cubed foods.
cubed?
Two separate places gave us two separate dishes that were cubed. We
Was it
got
wombat poop? That's what I know to be cubed.
it was, yeah. We ate one. No, it's macaroni and cheese
What?
cubes. Yeah.
What do you mean cubes of macaroni and
Like,
cheese?
like the
I know what
appetizers.
macaroni and cheese is. If that's what you're about to ask me, yes, I've heard of it. I'm
No, the
familiar.
shut up,
As a
the
as a gourmand, I know my way around some mac and cheese.
the bites that they like deep fry and they like give you, you're not familiar?
No.
It's very okay. It's disgusting and great. But they had it in cubes. It's like a cube of macaroni and cheese breaded and deep fried. But then we got later at a different place, we got chickpea fries, which is basically hummus deep fried and in a cube.
It's just falafel.
Well, yes. However, the spices were different, so it didn't
Uh,
taste like falafel.
okay. Was it good?
It was delicious. But what's with all the fucking cubes? Is all I'm saying.
That's an interesting presentation.
Josh, I need answers.
I'm going to look into this because I need answers too. And I
Thank you.
understand where you're coming from.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, I don't know my way around cubed foods that way. And I feel like maybe I've been missing out.
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
Yeah, deprived.
Mm, mm.
I've seen pictures of cubed watermelons that are like grown in crates
Right.
for ease of shipping, I guess. Or maybe just because it's cool. I'm not sure.
A little from column A, a little from column B.
So yeah, good food. You saw interesting stuff. Andy was being celebrated.
It was for an art show that he was in, and it was really fun because they gave the first person an idea and they made art from it. And then the next person, it was like a game of telephone. So each person went off the last person's art and did something that they were.
A little bit of an exquisite corpse. That's
Mhm.
a surrealist or Dadaist game where like the first person writes like a line of poetry or draws the beginning of a picture and hands it to the next person who only goes off of what that person did and then
Yes.
folds the paper over. And so the next person can only see what the most recent person has either written or drawn. And then at the end, you have something collectively produced that is like a game of telephone.
Yep, that's it. Super fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, so was it like, did the other artists' work play with similar ideas or themes that Andy was playing with in ways that you found fun?
Yes. However, um, I we went out to dinner before with all the other artists,
Mm-hmm.
and I may have had a couple of tall glasses of wine. And by the time I got there, I was starting to be uncomfortable around people.
Mm.
And I took a look around, said, okay, that's great. I'm gonna go outside for a minute. And it was all great from what I saw, but I don't remember a lot of it. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's okay. That's all right. But you had a good time. Andy had a good time.
Yes,
Um, that's super awesome.
it was great. Toronto was beautiful. And they paid for us to stay in this beautiful suite with a kitchenette and a little sitting room and bedroom. It was luxurious. Although there was a balcony and the hotel would not let us access it. And it was a large balcony, and I'm mad about it. I wanted to sit on the balcony.
That's fucked up. Why
Right?
would they tease you with a like? Oh, I mean, I can guess why.
Uh they and like all the windows went to the balcony, and we're not supposed to go out there. You guys, come on. That's not fair.
You know, I assume that they're worried about you committing suicide in their hotel,
I mean,
as
who
though
isn't?
as though like that would stop a person who was interested in committing suicide. Seriously.
I could easily open the window and go onto the balcony, but I am a proper lady and I did not. So
Mm.
they are faulty, or the thinking was.
I just read that shit, I'm not gonna be able to, doesn't matter. Some suicide facts. Um Oh
That's
hey,
fun.
you're the first person to introduce me to the Northern Boys. I gotta thank you for that.
I forgot about that.
Party time is the ultimate jam.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty real good.
Hang myself in my neighbor's garden. When he gets home, that's a nice surprise. Chuck my corpse in a big main road, turn my head to a powdered skull, let rain pour, turn that to mulch, and that's the last scene of the Patrick Show.
Okay, I watched that video a total of one time and I sent it off to just about everyone because it was amazing.
It's fucking awesome. And like the people that I sent it to who have not responded to me one way or the other ever since, I question like a lot about them.
So everyone go watch that.
Um, but wait, let's get back to the matter at hand, which is Outer Range, the
Oh
greatest fucking show on
yeah.
Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Why don't you walk us through it, Josh?
All right, so just to set the stage, episode 3, we've got Royal Abbott, patriarch of the Abbott family. He is played by Josh Brolin. He is married to the incomparable Lily Taylor.
Yes,
Everything she touches turns to gold.
indeed.
Their sons, Brett and Perry, and granddaughter, Amy. Perry's wife has been missing for 9 months.
That is correct.
The guys accidentally killed their neighbor, Trevor.
Whoops.
Royal threw him into a mysterious abyss on their western pasture and was spotted by the hippie girl camping on their land, Autumn Rivers, who threw him into the abyss also. When he was in the abyss, he traveled to the future.
Mm-hmm.
2 years after he had died. And while there, gets shot. And then he jumps back into the abyss, where he lands the morning after the night he was thrown into the abyss. The Tillersons, the neighbors who are now missing a son, are trying to do a land grab on that western pasture because their patriarch is obsessed with it and with mysteries of the unknown.
And naked ladies.
Erotic art.
Sorry.
As he refers to it. Not just naked ladies, no. Because what gets his heart racing is not what he can see, but what he can't see.
Hardcore porn?
No, that's the thing. No, his whole
No,
point,
you idiot. You can see that.
No, his whole point is that you can see that. He's searching for something that isn't there, that isn't just hardcore pornography. It's something
boring.
Well, I mean, to each their own. Like, please, by all means, Tressa, you enjoy all the hardcore pornography your little heart desires.
He's looking at ladies in Victorian dresses showing off their ankles. Whew.
I don't think that's what he's saying either.
No, that is very much what he said, clearly.
All right, so let's talk about ladies in Victorian dresses.
Oh, can we?
Yeah, because here's the thing. Like, it's clear to me that ghosts almost all come from the Victorian era. And my theory for that is that they had to wear all these clothes and they're like weighed down by those garments. And I don't think you really get ghosts from after that time. And I don't know that you really get ghosts from before that time. I feel like ghosts from before that time kind of like they run their course and they burn out eventually. And like they travel on to the next,
I think that's the only thing that I agree with you about ghosts is at some point they all burn out and just fade away. But there are ghosts from every time. What are you talking about?
Well, as I learned in Highlander, it's better to burn out than to fade away.
Gross.
How fucking dare you? There can be only one.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Yeah. All right, then.
But let's not quote. All right, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Do you take issue with Kurgan's philosophy?
It's stolen, but sure, fine. Go ahead.
What do you mean it's stolen? That guy's thousands of years old. He probably came up with it before anybody.
You know he didn't. You goddamn know he did not. He heard it in a song and he was like, fuck yeah, dude.
He heard it in a song.
You know I'm right.
I mean, I don't want to rule it out.
Because you know I'm right.
You're right about most things, and this could
That's
be
true.
one of them.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Victorian ghosts are the predominant ghost, and I believe that is because the weight of their clothes.
All right. Duly noted.
Yeah.
All right.
So wait, let's talk a little bit about this episode. Interim Sheriff Joy Hawk, who's running for the position. We get like a lot of her in this episode, and she's a cool character. I mean, all cops are bastards.
Yeah, ACAB, but she's great.
Yeah. She's tough. She saves an innocent person from a bad guy. That's how we know she's good. She doesn't even try to use
a gun.
She doesn't try to use a gun, even though this guy's got a gun. She disarms him kind of badly. Like she pulls it out of his pants and drops it on the floor.
Right.
While she's still wrestling with him. I don't think that's a great move personally, but I don't know. Maybe she has better training.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like guns go off that way, but I also know absolutely nothing about guns, so I don't know. I don't
You
know. Yeah.
point the dangerous part at the thing you
Uh-huh.
want to kill.
Yeah.
That's like the main thing.
And then what?
Don't point it at anything you don't want to kill.
Why not?
Those are like the two main rules.
Okay.
So if you want to kill something,
Yeah.
like a gun's an efficient way to do that.
Okay.
And
Okay.
if you don't want
Hmm.
to kill something, don't point a gun at that thing.
Oh, all right. That makes sense.
That's yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I'll
So she disarms this dude
mhm.
and she's telling him, I will break your arm
Yeah.
before she even uses the force to break his arm.
Yeah, she's got Jedi powers. You said it like that, so I had to. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
uh yeah, before the Schwartz be with you.
Yeah,
Um
that was great. She actually broke his arm, and that was great. And did not take him to the hospital. She was like, "All right, I'm just
no,
gonna."
she takes him to jail. Also, like this tiny town has a lot of fucking cops.
Really, they really, really do. Like,
It
why
seems
do
like
they
it's the
need that many?
main industry in this town.
Serious. There's like 5 shops total in this downtown area, and
Right.
like
It's a
20
fucking ghost
cops.
town. There's one bar.
Seriously.
It's called the Handsome Gambler.
Adorable.
And maybe that's the only business other than the pharmacy that we see Autumn go into.
Right.
And
There's probably an antique store because there's always an antique store.
right. So
Just full of
all right. So
shit.
this raises an interesting question. Um, like police departments are funded by your taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So you got these big ranches, but I kind of thought that like those guys are I guess they might be getting
Subsidies.
they might be getting subsidies as well as federal tax cuts, but maybe their local taxes are high. I don't know.
Mm.
Somebody's got to pay for all these fucking cops.
I know there's like 20 on duty at any given moment, and nothing's going on. That's more people that live in that town. Like, who are you patrolling against? What are you afraid of?
It
Cop town.
is definitely cop town. And like, I mean, the Abbott Ranch, which is fucking massive, it's bigger than lots of towns in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
It just has like that small family and no employees.
Right. Yeah. There's more cops than people in that fucking town. They
So
probably don't even live there. The cops probably have to be like commuting into work every fucking day because goddamn, this tiny little town with 5 people in it need 20 cops on duty at all times. What the hell? What is this town called?
I think it's called Wabang.
That sounds fake.
I think I think it's in I think they said that they're in a town called Wabang, but I could be wrong.
Mm.
Anyway, it's in Wyoming. And
Mm-hmm. Montana Junior.
I mean, it's a beautiful country out there. And
Gorgeous.
this show is photographed so fucking gorgeously.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, okay, so like Rhett is drunkenly trying to pick up that girl that he's had a crush on since high school, and they make out in front of the bar, and then she says goodnight, and he's a gentleman, and he's like, oh, good night. And then he stumbles over, like leans up against the back of a truck to take a piss in the street. And that's a fucking cop car.
Because the town is nothing but cops.
Seriously, it's like, dude, you should know by now
that
like,
every car is a cop car.
Except for Lily Taylor thinks that she sees Rebecca, that's the missing wife.
Because that's a truck. All cars are cop cars. All trucks are civilians.
I guess so. I mean,
That's
I
how
don't
it
know if that was
works.
her or not, or if she's just like maybe blinking at Victorian ghosts.
Showing off their ankles as they do.
Early on, we see Autumn digging a hole and she pulls a rock out of the ground, and
Mm,
then like the camera tilts up and we see that she's like under that
that
outcropping of rock where the brand, possibly the brand was painted sideways.
right.
Maybe that's just another fucking thing there. Um
What the brand?
yeah, I mean, like in the previous episode,
Mm,
Autumn runs into Amy and she points it out and she's like, it looks like this thing I've been drawing. And
kind of.
Amy says, oh, it looks like my family's brand. She's like, oh, you're an abbot. And that's when they have the whole exchange about Royal, who is not dead but the last she knew, she had thrown him into an endless pit in the ground.
Yes.
So, you know, happy to hear that he was still alive and kicking as of breakfast.
Yes. All right. So she got the rock, looked like amber and with some junk in it, like in a Jurassic World or Park or whatever one. And then what happens? We got, oh, but he's in the police station because he pissed on that car.
Right. And
And
but they decide to go easy on him, even though they've already run the blood from Trevor's belt buckle, and it's his blood, which was in the system from a DUI from a year earlier.
yeah,
Fucking
like, bro,
cops.
seriously, ACAB 1312. And
Cops be copping.
and Josh Brolin, Royal goes to go pick up his son at the thing, and you see him peering through window, and you're like, what's he looking at? And then they're driving home, next scene, and he tells his son that his mom is not actually dead, like everyone on Earth thinks, but he just ran away when his dad died, and he has a little sister. Bruh, that's wild.
Yeah, and then at the same time, he takes out
What's
the
he take
belt
out?
buckle
What?
that he stole from the police
What?
station.
Who
He
would do
puts it on the
that?
dash,
What?
and then in the next scene, he's just standing on the edge of the abyss and he tosses it in.
Where's that gonna end up? Is what I'm saying.
I mean, it's a real mystery because it could go anywhere at
Yeah,
any time, as far as we know. Like, I don't know what
right.
the rules are, but it seems like it can go any. Well, I mean, maybe it doesn't go location wise different, but time wise different.
True. But
So
also, are they like, are they falling into those locations? Are they materializing in those locations? What the hell is going on with their end place location?
you don't get all those answers. There are a lot of good
Josh,
questions. Maybe we get answers later. I don't know.
Josh, that's not fair.
So Royal later comes to Autumn's campsite, and she's got a few items on her clothesline outside of her tent,
Yep.
including what looks like a yellow shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And she apologizes for tossing him in a hole and says she's truly glad to see him again.
Sorry, bro. I thought I killed you, but I'm glad I didn't. Peace.
And she's like, so, where'd you go? And he's like, a different time. And she's like, you went backwards in time? And he was like,
Gotta go.
no.
Bye.
She was like, wait, you went forwards in time? You went to the future? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. This is like all because he says to her, if she can just not tell anyone about any of this, that she can continue on the land. And she's like, well, that's almost good enough, but I need some answers. Like, where'd you go? And he's like, well, I went to a different time. And she's like, what? And
Also,
then,
what a shitty deal. You can keep on camping on my land. What? I'll just camp somewhere else and tell everybody. Who cares? Am I wrong?
well, I don't know. I mean, like, they have some kind of link, right? Like,
Sure, obviously. But if you're going to make a deal, make it sweeter than that. You know what I'm saying?
uh, what deal would you propose?
I don't know. Ice cream.
Ice cream's pretty good. We see Royal and Amy eating ice cream together at the beginning of the episode.
And he didn't have ice cream until he was 10 years old.
He apparently told her that a million times because she knew it. And he's like, well, I guess that's what old people do, is repeat themselves. And she says, well, you're not that old. And he laughs, and they have some more ice cream together, and it's adorable.
Adorable.
And she says, why was your leg bleeding? And he says, I cut myself on a fence. And she said, I don't believe you.
And he said, fuck you, little girl.
He would never, because he's a gentleman.
Fine. So what happens next?
So back at the campsite, when he's
Mhm.
like, okay, I went to the future. And she's like, what? That's fucking crazy. Anyway, they shake hands on
Oh,
the
I
deal.
forgot about that. Yeah.
So, like, you know, she's got those, I think, I want to say they're Buddhist prayer beads. I'm not an expert, and I could be wrong, wrapped around her wrist. And he looks at her necklace, which I think is the same necklace that Amy in the last episode complimented. And it's like, it looks like the rock on the necklace is sort of like vibrating or pulsing or something.
Oh, I didn't notice that, but I thought it was a chrysalis. It looked very much like a chrysalis.
It was a super subtle thing. Maybe it was just like the way the light was playing on it,
Mm.
and not some kind of effect thing. And then they shake hands. And as they do, the mountain behind her disappears.
That was so wild because Royal was just like, yep.
Yeah, he sees it happen.
Stone faced.
And when they like unclasp hands, it like reforms as though it had never disappeared.
Right.
And she says, everything okay? And he's like, yep. But here's the thing. He's not the only one who saw that.
Right. And if they didn't show the sheriff also witnessing that, I would have assumed it was a hallucination. And I'm so glad that she like went into town and they were like, it's crazy. All these people are saying the mountain disappeared. And she's like, oh boy.
Right. Like, she doesn't let on at all.
Right.
Although she keeps having some very interesting run-ins around town. So like that meth head in the convenience store that she arrests, she's like driving him to jail. And he's like, well, you got to do something about the real problem, which is people disappearing. My cousin disappeared for 6 seconds and then he came back. And she's like, oh, well, does he like meth the way you do? And guy's like, no. And some guy on the Tillerson ranch disappeared. And she's like, thanks for the tip. And then she has to like go see some bigwig for like political reasons because she's running for office later in the episode.
Yes.
And he's like, what are you going to do about the real problem, which is woolly mammoths in caves?
He's got the hard-hitting issues.
And it's like, I don't know what you expect me to do about woolly mammoths in caves. How, I mean, and also, how is that an issue if whether or not that's happening?
It's not an issue because they're not causing problems if they are there, because nobody knows that they are there. They're fine.
I mean, this guy knows that they're there, and random people that he doesn't mention by name. He, you know, he says like Indians have seen this, and he's sitting across from a Native American who's like, you know, like who doesn't really get a word in edgewise during his weird monologue about dinosaurs.
Right.
Oh, Autumn sees that buffalo and pulls one of 2 arrows out of its side.
Oh, yeah.
And that just kind of happens like in the course of her day. She has a lot of things happen. Like a lot of things happen. Like this is an interesting day, right? Like
For sure.
a lot of things happen. She picks up her meds. She stops into a bar because she thinks she sees Royal's truck, and Perry's sitting at the bar, and he's like, "Oh, Royal's my dad. That I took the truck into town." So she sits down and they meet, and she's like, "Oh, I saw your ring. How long you been married?" He's like 10 years, but she's been missing for 9 months. And then she says this weird thing about like sometimes you're how does she phrase it? Like sometimes you're in a dark room and you're trying to feel around for the light bulb for the light
Yeah.
switch.
And you're not even sure that it's even exists. And then
And
she's
then
like, all right,
finally
I gotta go.
and then finally you find it. Yeah, it's like this weird thing that doesn't really make sense. And then she just bounces. And
That was bizarre. And I know it's gonna play out, or it was something, but it was just like, you just got your beer, dude. Like, what are you doing? Hang out for a bit. Mm.
she tells Royal at the campsite that she doesn't remember her life before she was 9 years old. She had some kind of accident and woke up in the hospital in Jackson.
Okay, so you've watched this entire season.
Yeah,
I don't want you to tell me, but
I'm I'm not gonna.
she's totally Royal's sister, right? Okay, anyway.
That's an interesting theory.
Uh-huh.
Royal says that he has a younger sister that he never saw again.
Mm-hmm. She doesn't remember her childhood up until a certain age.
That's interesting.
How did his dad die? Did he die in an accident that she was in as well? Hmm.
That's interesting.
Is it? Thank you.
Um, Amy, the granddaughter, goes out on a hike and she stumbles onto something.
The girl loves to hike.
She does. Yeah, she gets out in the world. She
Mm-hmm.
loves being out in nature.
Yeah.
And she stumbles on Trevor's dead body.
It was like Stand By Me without a bunch of little boys.
You guys want to see a dead body? So, like, how fucked up is it? Just side note about Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Whether or not you think that's a good movie or a good story or, well, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like a very interesting coming of age story for 12-year-olds. I mean, I feel like a crucial aspect of coming of age stories involves like sneaking out and being like away from your parents' watchful gaze, and like you get into some kind of trouble, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
I have been thinking so much specifically about this during the pandemic and wondering what it's like for kids who for safety reasons, for like perfectly reasonable, like, for the first year there was no vaccine or anything, and like a lot of kids, they were not only were they not sneaking out of the house, they weren't going to school, they weren't, just like all normal stuff shut down.
Yeah.
And I feel like, people talk about kids getting behind in school, but I think the real thing is like these developmental milestones of like sneaking out of the house and getting into trouble. I'm not joking.
I know you're not, but like that milestone, like of all the milestones, you're like, these poor kids cannot go against their parents and make dangerous decisions on their own. And I think it's really important that they do that.
I mean, kind of.
Yeah, no. No, for sure. Kids got totally fucked on the pandemic. I'm curious to see how that develops in the coming 5-10 years. Like, did everyone just like basically hit pause on development? I don't know.
I don't know either. I mean, I think that if you were like the exact right age to like hit that milestone, and then you just spent 2 years in your parents' basement playing video games or whatever, like
Mm-hmm.
instead of like making friendships or like just whatever, exploring your world.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know
But
if you get another,
also,
I don't
and do
know.
kids even do that shit anymore? I feel like,
Well,
uh,
I don't know, because I feel like kids are simultaneously so much younger and
mhm.
so much more sophisticated
Yeah.
than kids were what like when I was a kid.
Yeah. No, for sure. They have the combination of all the knowledge of the world at their hands, but also they don't need, they don't have the need to prove themselves as independent anymore because they have everything they need. Does that make sense?
Yes. I
Should I
mean, I don't know
elaborate?
that like I don't know that like kids uh necessarily don't have the need to prove themselves or something.
I mean,
Like,
for sure they do. But like as a mom,
mhm,
it seems like kids are not in a rush to be adults anymore. Like when I was a kid, I just did not want to be a kid. I just wanted to be an adult. But now it seems like,
totally.
especially with like adults embracing nostalgia for what they loved as children and still like playing video games and everything else, our parents didn't necessarily do that. So when kids see adults doing that, they're like, why? This is fine. I don't have to pretend to be like a mature person. I can just be myself. You know what I'm saying? So
Well, the way you make it sound, that sounds like really liberating and good.
I think it is. So
Um, yeah, I mean, I think back to, when I was a kid and like all the kids that I knew. Yeah, there was definitely like a lot of proving yourself
mm-hmm.
and a lot of I mean, I don't know, like I'm speaking as a former child, not an expert
Oh.
on development and how it's changed across time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It seems to me in my limited and casual observation that um kids are uh both safer and in more danger simultaneously than ever before.
Yeah, they're a bunch of jumbo shrimp. What are those things called? Uh,
Jumbo shrimp,
uh,
a fisherman's platter, all you can eat red
uh,
lobster.
uh, go, what's the phrase that
Arthur Treachers.
God damn it.
Um,
Um, when something is simultaneously the opposite thing that it is, you know.
like an oxymoron.
Thank you. They're oxymorons. Those fucking oxymoron kids.
What? Wait, please explain. Please explain.
They're simultaneously safer and in more danger. That's
Does that seem true to you?
yes, yes. But the danger is different
Yeah.
and the safety is different.
Yeah.
Security? I don't know.
Well, so
Anyway,
okay, wait,
what?
let me ask you a question
Yeah,
about like norms for things.
the guy from Cheers. Yeah.
When I was a kid,
Mhm.
being like left alone at home at a young age was normal.
Hmm.
being left alone in a running car while my parents like would like go into the store and grab stuff.
Sure.
Normal.
Yep.
And my understanding is over the course of at least the past couple decades, you would go to prison now if you did either of those things.
Yes. I mean, I think that is official law that you cannot leave a child alone and if they're under 13. Um, but I think that most, and I'm just spitballing here, people our age that are parents were scared when we were left alone. Sometimes, a lot of times, I don't know. And they don't want their own kids to feel that way. So they are more, I mean, I'm just going off of my own neuroses and why I would not leave my child alone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that it's like better or worse. I'm just saying it's
Sure.
like a different norm.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think that Gen X being latchkey kids and
Mhm.
fending for themselves and taking care of their siblings totally formed how we parent now, is my guess.
For better and for worse.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, um, hmm, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like by that token, kids seem safer and in more danger because like there hasn't been the experience of like touching the hot stove to learn the lesson.
Yeah, absolutely. That's totally what it is. We, yeah, parents today don't want their children to be harmed, even if it means they get to learn a lesson. I don't know.
No, I mean, I think that's like that's got to be like one of the biggest struggles for a parent is like, what's um, what are different levels of caution that you exercise for kids at different stages of development.
Yeah, and I imagine,
And like, when do you decide the rules are now getting updated?
right. I
Because,
mean, you
and
got to
like,
break the trauma at some point.
right. Well, also, like, if you have kids who are like trying to test the boundaries all the time,
Yeah.
you know, as a parent, it's either your job to like constantly enforce these boundaries or not. And like, I don't know, like at some point, if a kid is like comfortable like learning what the boundary is and like not pushing it, then like you're not being tested as the authority figure. But like it's a lot of fucking work to have to police a person 24/7.
Yes. That is being a parent, and it's hard.
Yeah. So like um I could easily see decisions being made just out of exhaustion,
Oh, for sure.
you know,
Hmm.
that like contradict, the carefully laid out plans you've tried to make.
Yes. Here, what I always said before, what I have always said is I was a perfect mom before I had any children. And then I had to do it. And I'm an okay mom. Like, I get it done.
Do you consult with the person that you used to be for like tips on how to be a perfect mom, or are you like,
No, she can fuck right off. She didn't know what
okay,
she was talking about.
okay, all
She
right,
wasn't there.
okay, her high-minded ideals were not based in reality.
Exactly. And then you
um
got to imagine like every generation before us had like such different rules,
totally.
and every generation has evolved those rules, and just what seemed dangerous then is like unthinkable now, and what seemed safe then seems so dangerous now. that it's just a weird, ever evolving thing that will never stop evolving.
Let me ask you this,
Yeah.
and I'm not really quite sure how to phrase it. What is uh what is the current thinking? And I don't mean to put you on the spot and make you like the sort of expert speaker for parenting today or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what do you think personally of the onus of uh like other adults who are not the parents that are like sort of uh maybe thrown into a scenario of being an authority figure? Like,
Example.
I'm trying to, like, there are sort of like a lot of different possibilities of where to go with this. Like, if a kid is like doing something that like you personally as a parent wouldn't approve of, but you're not present for it, if there's some other random adult, not even a person you know,
Mm.
who steps in and is like corrective, like, hey, don't do that, that's wrong. Are
Like
you
you.
are you like, if you were to appear on the scene as that's happening,
Mhm.
would you think this stranger was doing the right thing and in my child's best interest, or would you think, get the fuck out of here, this you person I do not know? Or
Uh,
both, or both.
yeah, I think it's both. I would honestly want to know exactly what was said. And if I was like, yeah, they're totally right, my son was being a dick, or my son almost hurt himself, I'd be like, oh, that's fine. If I feel like that parent is just, I don't know, just being a dick and like yelling at my kid, yeah, I'm going to step in and I would either just leave with my son or I would tell them absolutely not. It just depends on the situation, I think. I don't know if that's true of everyone.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, fair. Like, I think it would have to be, dependent on scenario by scenario, but
Sure.
mm.
Uh,
Wait, how did we get here? Were we talking about Amy
Stand
going
by me.
stand by me? Right, because Amy loves to go hiking.
Loves it.
She's out on her own.
Mm-hmm.
She has some ice cream with her grandfather, and then
Mm-hmm.
she's hitting the dusty trail.
Thinking about eating pie eating contests. Oh wait, that
Um,
was Stand by Me. I'm sorry.
right, in the first episode, Rhett had that bad ride at the rodeo,
Yeah.
and she says, "Oh, that was a bullshit call," and she was like, "Oh, Grandpa said it." So like she's about to get in trouble for swearing, but then throws her grandfather under the bus.
Both fingers
Who I guess
flared.
doesn't get in trouble, I guess. um there's a bunch about rodeo that I feel like we haven't super much discussed. uh
I mean,
it,
he wins or whatever. But
right, like so Rhett he rides bulls. Is it a bull that you ride, or a horse? I
it's a
think it's a
bull.
bull.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a bull.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
I think. I think you can do both, but I think that he was
right.
riding a bull.
uh so right, so in the first one, like it seemed like he lost, but then we find out that like the other guy was on drugs or something and got disqualified, so he advances to the next round. He's about to go do his ride, and not Rhett, Royal is helping him get ready, and Sheriff Joy Hawk shows up and wants to question him about his blood being on Trevor's buckle. And then Rhett quickly and quietly tells Royal that, and that's how Royal knows when he's at the station to fucking ransack it and just steal the buckle.
Like he had to go in a different room to do that. He couldn't just like walk by and grab it. He was like peering into a room. Oh, I'm gonna go and grab that real quick. No one saw, no one noticed.
Sneaky fellow.
So sneaky. You know those ranchers. So
I don't, but I mean, I guess they step lightly.
because cows.
Cows.
Mm-hmm.
Big time cows.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Earlier you said what Autumn's seizure medication was. What's it called again?
Lamotrigine.
When the pharmacist gives it to her, she says, "This isn't my first Lamotrigine rodeo."
She does.
Which is like, that's just like a turn of phrase that people throw around all the time. But again, rodeo. Or whatever.
Lamotrigine rodeo.
Lamotrigine rodeo. Interesting.
So then,
yeah,
Royal calls in the dead body.
Right. And wait, over earlier.
Yeah.
At the Tillerson Ranch, Patriarch Wayne Tillerson. Is it Wayne?
Let's say yes.
Okay. He goes on a little conversational monologue diversion about echolocation and how...
Man, I could listen to him talk all day.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, every actor in the show is giving a fucking great performance. It's one of those amazing things that like you don't get very often, where you have incredibly charismatic actors who are not butting up against each other as they give great performances.
Yep.
Like everybody's giving each other room to breathe and room to play. And it's amazing how all these diamonds sparkle.
Well said, friend.
Well, so anyway, so he gives, like, I think it's hard for like a smart actor who's given a long monologue in a room with people to make that seem conversational.
Yeah, for sure.
And so he's got his two living sons there. He still thinks the other one's just like gone off with a girl at this point. And he tells Luke to make the Abbotts an offer for $1 million for the West Pasture. And Luke's like, why the fuck would we do that? We've already paid the assessor. We're already getting that pasture. We don't have to make them an offer. He's like, make them the offer. And then Luke and Billy are talking privately. And Luke is like, he cares more about that pasture than he does his own son. Like Trevor's missing. And
right.
Wayne he's not concerned. He's like, I'm not making them an offer for anything. Not like they would have taken it.
Right. I still understand why though. Why they've already got it's theirs basically. Why?
He's obsessed with it. He wants it no matter what. Like he's paid off a guy to get it, but like that fucking court thing hasn't happened and the land grab hasn't happened. So
it's taken too long is what you're saying?
I guess so. He just fucking wants it. He wants it. And, he's been in bad health. Like we see him on oxygen and like he knows his time is running out.
Was he wearing a denim robe?
He's wearing a robe of some kind. I just watched a sound check for Kiss that like I guess it's a thing I watched on YouTube, the band Kiss.
Of course.
So I guess if you are like a mega fan that pays like $1 bazillion, you get to like go to their sound check and like have a Q&A with them.
Yeah.
And it's like a 45-minute long video and Gene is wearing a fucking gigantic terry cloth bathrobe.
Of course he fucking is.
It's amazing. Um, I guess, I mean, if you pay the premium price for that, I gotta say that like the sort of intimate access they gave these guys, mostly guys, was like, it was real. Like it was like being in their living room with them. Like,
because you know how you get that done if you're a woman. You don't have to pay money for that.
yeah, Gene famously, actually both of them famously. Um, yeah. What? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. You you made me think of that video because of Wayne's robe. Right. Yeah. Wait, is there more about this episode that we should discuss that we haven't? I feel like we did a lot of aspects of it a little bit out of order.
Yeah, it's fine though.
Yeah, I think that's fine too.
And it ended, it was so pretty how it ended, because it just ended after the phone call with him just like, whoops, had to call the cops.
Yeah, nothing else to do.
Because, you're like, dude, he's on your land. You are so fucked. But what are you going to do?
Well, also, like, your 9-year-old granddaughter just found a dead body. There's literally, and like, she's not part of the conspiracy in any way. So all you can do is what you got to do. You got to follow the law, the letter of the law and the spirit of the law.
Because that little girl, she's not going to keep her fucking mouth shut.
Well, also, like, you can't put her in that position.
What? Shut up.
I mean, if she had, I mean, it's clear from their relationship, everyone was going way, not out of their way to protect her from what was going on, but what to me seems like the normal amount to protect her from what was going on.
And she's already thrown Royal under the bus by saying that he taught her how to swear. So he knows she's going to do it again.
That's right. She can't keep her mouth shut. Good fucking point. Oh my God. Yeah. Well said.
Yeah. Well, I got to go.
All right.
So this
all right. That's all the time we've got today.
What's my catchphrase that you hate? We'll be smoldering in the morning.
Why do you do this? Why? Like, we decided on a name. It's called On Fire Tonight.
Right. And we're done with that. And it's the next day. So now we are smoldering in the morning with Tressa and Josh.
Oh, so you're saying that people are listening to this and it turns midnight while they're listening?
Yes. Like that exactly was what I'm saying.
Oh, all right. So I'm so sorry. I owe you an apology because all of this time I thought that you were going way out of your way to confuse our listeners with different possible names for this podcast. And it turns out that I was the one who was confused, not them.
It's okay. So thanks for joining us, and we're now smoldering in the morning.
Smoldering into the morning? Smoldering in the morning?
I don't know. I gotta go.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thank you. See you later whenever we do this next.
Yeah. All right.